Alright, welcome to Brain Flow TV, everybody, and today we're going to be cooking cornmeal is what it's called. So you're going to need some cornmeal. I'm going to show you the rest of ingredients you're going to need. This video is short and pretty fast, so pay attention. Alright, you're going to need some cornmeal. You're going to need some coconut milk. You're going to need, that's the brand that I use, coconut milk. You know, Jamaicans, they stick to Grace. Shout out to Grace. You're going to need some cooking oil. All right. And you're going to need some onions. I've already chopped up my onions looking like that. You're going to need some tomato, a sharp tool to chop your vegetables and seasonings. And you're going to need a scallion. This is turned cornmeal cooked my way. And that's the coconut milk. 2 cans of coconut milk in a pot looks about that much. All right. Now let's get into this. Set that to high or medium. I'm pretty fast at this, so my stove was already set on high to get my milk to boil. I want the milk, and I'm going to be having some fried plantains with it. Here we go. So you cut up your vegetables, right? And make sure you cut them to a size where you don't want to cut them too small, so don't strain yourself over that. Cut them to a nice size. And don't put everything in the pot all at once. I'm going to show you what I put into the pot first. Oh, kale. Add some kale to it. This is, by the way, a vegan dish. Okay? No meat, blood, or bones involved. My wife's in the kitchen. She's in here getting something to eat. And I put a Scotch bonnet pepper in it because I like a bit of spice. I am from the Caribbean. And I'm cutting up my scallion right now. Or people call it spring onion as well. Once all that stuff is cut up, I'll show you what goes into the pot first and what goes in after. Alright, so here we go. Everything's all cut up. You can see the tomato, that's the Scotch bonnet pepper, that's the scallion. And in the pot, I have my onion and my kale first. Now, the reason why you put the onion and the kale in there first and the oil, and if you notice there's not a lot of oil in that pot, right? You put the onion and the kale in there first because you don't want the onion to be too stiff, too hard when it's cooked into the cornmeal. You want that onion to be nice and caramelized. And also for the kale, you want the kale is pretty rough. So you want the kale to be a bit softened but not soggy. So the kale can take a bit of heat. So we'll leave that on the stove for a second. My wife's in the kitchen, by the way. She's eating blue corn chips, all organic, and she's eating guacamole dip with it. Now, we've been on this health kick, and we're on a 30-day where she wants to lose some weight. Well, not some weight. She's been looking beautiful lately. She said she just wants to lose her stomach because she had a baby. And that's one of the things that women face after giving birth to a child is a bit of weight around the belly area. So we've been doing more vegan than anything else. So now I've added the tomatoes. And if you notice, I still did not add the spring onions to it. Why? Because the spring onions, I like them to be a bit crispy so they pop. So I prefer the heat from them being cooked in the cornmeal pot in the milk will be enough for them, right? So we get the tomatoes, the onions, and the kale with the pepper, the hot pepper, the Scotch bonnet pepper, the yellow bits in there. We get those caramelized before we go ahead and put everything, all that ingredients right there is about to now go. It spends about 5 minutes on the stove, by the way, if you're looking for a time frame. So you don't want to burn it, and now we're going to put it into the milk. You want to leave that on there for about 5 minutes and cook it at high to medium high. Get it all nice and caramelized, put it into the milk, and that's what it looks like when all the ingredients are in the milk. Now, by the time you put it in the milk should be almost or at a boiling point, right? Because remember, we started the video out, the first thing we did was put the stove on under the milk. For you who are not too fast at doing this, put the stove at about medium while you chop your vegetables and stuff. Now I've added the cornmeal to the mixture with the milk, and it looks like this. And you got to stir it. I'm being my own camera person today, so I have to monitor the camera and stir the food. But there it is. And that is what it looks like. And then you want to cover it. After stirring it around in there for about 3 minutes, you want to cover it until it thickens like that. You want to cover it, put it on low, right? And let it sit for about 5 minutes. Don't bother it. Don't touch it. Just let it sit for about 5 minutes. You've done all the stirring. And then you should come out looking like this. So this is what I call cornmeal or turned cornmeal. Believe it or not, we used to feed this to the dogs in the country when I was growing up in Jamaica, but it would involve all the other scrappings from what we ate at the dinner table. I'm also cooking for my kids today, so there's fish, fried plantains, vegetarian beans, and brown rice. The kids will be having the fish. I'm not having any meat. Me and the wifey will be having, she's having brown rice and vegetarian beans with fried plantains as well. I'm the only one that's having turned cornmeal today, and it actually is one of my favorite dishes. You can have this dish by itself because the taste of the coconut milk, along with all these, the tomatoes and the kale and the onions and the pepper, it is just, oh my gosh. What you didn't see is I added a little bit of sea salt to the mixture, okay, to give it a bit of oomph, and that's it. That's about it. And now I'm about to taste it, and I'm going to tell you how it tastes. Oh, so good. So good that I have to go back for some more, okay? And here I go again. And if you look at the kale right here, you can see that the kale is not damaged. It's caramelized, so it's not soggy. So 5 minutes on the stove, and that should be it. Have a good one. All right, make sure you go pick up my son's 2 singles that were released on all digital platforms. Number One Fan, and the other one is called Seasons. His name is T Viral, that's T-E-E space V-I-R-A-L, and his music is available on all digital platforms. That includes Spotify, iTunes,